Welcome back to our channel, where we bring you the newest, most dramatic daily updates you absolutely cannot miss. Make sure to follow and subscribe so you never miss the latest news and plot twists from the show. Naomi could clearly feel the fracture spreading like cold cracks through a marriage she had tried to preserve for far too long, and it was that very fear of being abandoned that made her act like someone cornered with no way out. Jacob's loss of control, his distant eyes, the silent nights when he came home and barely acknowledged her, all of it were like blunt blades hacking away at the last scraps of her sanity. So when she discovered that Hayley was holding something in her hands that could blow everything wide open, she did not hesitate to turn her own tense, brittle composure into pressure so suffocating that Hayley could hardly breathe. Naomi did not just want the girl to hide a prescription or a moment of poor judgment, she wanted to smother the rot that was slowly eating away at her own life, as if a single mistake would be enough to make the calm surface of Fairmont Crest collapse entirely on top of her. Hayley did not understand why she had suddenly become the one carrying a secret that was never hers to begin with, but Naomi's coercion was too strong, too sharp, too relentless, leaving her standing frozen in the middle of a whirlpool that was tightening around her with no visible escape. Ironically, that moment coincided with the point when Danny began to notice that Bill was no longer behaving the way he used to. He had become quiet, cold, and dangerously inscrutable, making Danny feel more and more that a threat was drawing closer without any clear direction. Meanwhile, Joey, with his natural sensitivity to any abnormal shift, quickly realized that the Dupree family was no longer operating under the old rules. Avoided eye contact, unusual meetings, whispers echoing against the polished walls of Fairmont Crest, all of it felt like a warning that something was building up, waiting to explode. Naomi believed that by manipulating Hayley, she could intervene in time and pull the truth back from the edge of the cliff. But she never anticipated that this very act would open a gap for Randy, the one who had always watched everything from the shadows, simply waiting for someone to slip so he could tear apart what little balance remained. Randy did not need to create chaos, he only needed to touch it lightly, and the people inside the situation would destroy one another on their own. And Naomi, in the middle of her mental turmoil, had unknowingly handed him a weapon he had never even dared to hope for, proof of fear, of weakness, and a single lie capable of ripping an entire community apart. Hayley knew that bowing her head in acceptance also meant sinking herself into a swamp she was never mentally prepared to face. But the rush of emotions, the haunting thought of being blamed for things that were not her fault, and the fear that Naomi might punish her in more subtle, insidious ways pushed Hayley toward the quickest, and most dangerous, solution. In that moment, she did not realize that her decision was simultaneously pushing 4 other people into different, equally perilous directions. Danny felt that something unclean was swelling beneath Bill's vague explanations. She began to consider possibilities she had never dared to confront before. Was Bill hiding something from her? Was there someone else involved? Or worse, were all these storms the result of a much larger scheme in which she was nothing more than a convenient target? Her suspicion made Danny withdraw into herself, increasingly vulnerable and tense, until every movement around her felt like a threat. Bill, on the other hand, had turned into a vast dark space, cold and directionless. This change did not stem from guilt or blind, reckless love, but from a truth he was desperately trying to bury where no one could touch it. The more he tried to control the situation, the more he lost the part of himself that Danny had once loved. With Naomi spinning out of control, Hayley trembling, Joey watching with razor-sharp focus, and Randy lurking in the shadows, Bill realized he was surrounded, and the more he stepped back, the more he could feel the abyss widening beneath his feet. Joey had always sensed when something was off in the way people around him shifted, and the instincts of someone who had lived through chaos made it impossible for him to turn away. He saw Naomi restless, Hayley panicked, Danny withdrawn, Bill distant. He understood that an invisible thread was binding them together, turning them into a chain of dominoes waiting to fall. But Joey did not know whether he should pull them out of the spiral or take advantage of it to reach something he had long been chasing. Should he save Hayley from Naomi, or let the battle between them burn unchecked and lead everything to a place where he would benefit most? Meanwhile, Randy observed everything like a man standing in front of a city full of cracks. He did not need to smash down any walls, he only needed to watch carefully to see which brick would fall first. Naomi was afraid, Hayley was shaking, Danny was suspicious, Bill was icy, Joey was unsettled. Randy only had to wait for a soft gust of wind, and the whole structure would crumble on its own. And then the biggest questions hung in the air over Fairmont Crest. Did Naomi truly want to protect her marriage, or was she merely clinging to an image that had died long ago? What exactly was Bill hiding that turned him so cold? Would Danny's transformation push her toward seeking the truth at all costs, or toward making a reckless decision that would bring everything down? Would Joey rescue Hayley or exploit her? And what would Randy do with the fragment of truth Naomi had handed him without even realizing it? A single lie is usually not enough to destroy a truly solid system. But in a community like Fairmont Crest, where everyone has a secret, a weakness, a reason to betray, even the smallest lie can become the spark that burns everything to the ground. Hayley still did not see it, but the moment she chose to bow to Naomi, she pushed 6 lives into an underground war with no way back, where anyone could emerge as the apparent victor, but just as easily become the next victim of a distorted truth. And as the secrets slowly begin to rise to the surface, no one can predict who the next falling domino will be. Thank you for your